Kendall Whited, man. Is it Whited or Witted?
Whited.
Whited? All right.
Yep, whited.
The,
White,
the
white
one
with
black guy with a white last name.
I can't say I've never heard that one.
Dude, I'm not funny. Welcome to Easy Talk, brother. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So we actually have a bit of a history. We used to train together back when I was still training at Finney's and you were still training at Finney's. And that's actually where I first met you. If I recall correctly, you were a high school wrestler that after high school decided to do mixed martial arts or get into martial arts in general, right?
Yes.
Can I ask you a question? Why did you decide to do mixed martial arts and, not pursue something else in terms of like a physical endeavor? Why didn't you choose not to carry over wrestling?
So actually I did. I tried. So I finished, once I graduated high school and I ended up going to the SIUE, that's Southern Illinois University in Edwardsville. So I actually tried to walk on that team because I wasn't satisfied with, I wasn't done wrestling. I was like, man, I want to keep going. I was wrestling with their club team at first and just, getting some rolling time with some of their guys. Some of the SIU wrestlers would come into the room, so I got to wrestle around with some of them, and I was always like, asking, hey, can I, I'd like to join the team and kind of walk on, and I, it's hard, I guess, when you're trying to wrestle on, when you're trying to walk on, I should say, I guess you kind of get like looked over, obviously, because there's guys that they already invested money in, which I understood, and I was like, I know I'm not gonna get all the attention.
When you say invested money, do you mean like the guys
like
that are on the
scholarships?
team and,
Yeah.
athletic and
like
academic?
they these guys are here because they picked them out and they signed, like these guys signed over. So
So you felt ostracized?
I mean, I guess at points, because I was always trying to get like in contact with like the head coach. I always either got like, I was like talking to the team captain and I was like, I don't want to talk to you guys. Like I just wanted a chance. Like I'm like, if you put me
Give
in
me an opportunity.
yeah, literally, I was like, I knew how good I was like at the time. And I can still wrestle, but I'm nowhere near the level that I was when I was only wrestling. And I was just like, I would always call my dad and I'd be like, I just want to get in the room and like give me like the best 149, 157 guy or whoever's starting or who got the best scholarship. I'm like, just let me roll around with you. I knew I could like be competitive and hang. I was like, and I think it left a chip on my shoulder, and like I tried that for a year, and then I was just like, you know what, there has to be something else. And one of my friends, or my roommate, big UFC fan, which I always liked MMA, UFC, but I never thought I would like pursue it. Like you said, I always thought I was gonna wrestle all through college, maybe try to make a world team or Olympic team, whatever. That was the first goal. And so after that I was just like, all right.
How old were you when you started wrestling?
I started on my dad. So my dad in Oklahoma. My dad's like a 3-time state champion, whatever. He's
In Oklahoma?
Oklahoma. Yeah, he
dude.
went to Oklahoma University, wrestled
bless.
there. So I've always been around wrestling. I didn't start until I was about 13 full time. Like I was always on and off as a little kid, but when you're a little kid, like wrestling is just like
It's a season.
yeah, it's like it's
3
fun.
months
Like,
out of
yeah,
the year.
you're not really like I did it to be with my friends. I'm like I don't really care about it, but turned 13, I'm like, man, I really kind of want to, this is kind of cool. I want to do this. So I'd say about 13, and I was doing tournaments. I was wrestling off-season tournaments, doing pretty much everything you're supposed to do if you want to get to the level you want to get to. And but yeah, I always thought that wrestling was gonna be my way. But my roommate, he was like, why don't you just try MMA? He's like, you already have like the background in wrestling. I was like, oh, that's not a bad idea. So I mean, I think I did what pretty much everybody does: Google MMA gyms around me, and and like Finney's was like the first one that popped up, and I'm lazy. I'm like, cool.
It's the closest drive.
Yeah, I was like, cool, Finney's. I'm like, I asked my mom like, hey, what do you think about me doing this MMA thing? And obviously, my mom's like, what? She's like, I can barely handle you wrestling on the mat without looking away. She's like, you want to get punched in the face? And I'm like, yeah, why not? So my dad.
If you don't mind me asking, only child? Do you have siblings?
I have 3 brothers, so I'm the middle child. I have 2 older brothers, 1 younger. And,
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, again, and that's a great question because like we grew up beating each other up anyways, especially.
But if you were like the baby, then I could see that too. Like you're the youngest or whatever.
I mean, I'm not the baby, but I'm my mom's like first child, so like she's like. She treats me like I am the baby. And I'm like, it's even now, still, I'm 25, and I'm just like, like I still feel like I have to ask permission to do stuff. So like I don't know. It's weird, but yeah, she was totally not on board with it at first, and my dad, he doesn't really care what I do as long as it's I'm not doing anything illegal. He's like, cool.
Productive.
Yeah,
happy.
he's like if it makes you happy, whatever, do it. He's like, I mean, I'm sure he was concerned. Oh, he's gonna get hurt, but he's a dude. Like he's like, he didn't care. He's like, go for it. So
if you don't mind me asking, so you were trying to like, you went to SIUE and you were trying to kind of like join the team as a walk on. You felt ostracized or at the very least disrespected. Where did that lead? Did you ever talk to the coach? Did you just give up on that? Did you, by the way, did you graduate school? Did you drop out?
Yeah. So I ended up, I'd never really got in contact with the coach. Like I tried, like I said, I asked people on the team, hey, throw my name out there. I emailed countless emails. I'm coming at this dude so many different. I was on Instagram DMing, like whatever.
Oh, you were hunting him down.
Literally, like I was doing whatever I could do to
get your name across.
Yeah, I tried for a long time. It wasn't like I was like, all right, that was a month in, I'm done. I was trying all the time. I was showing my face to whoever I needed to show to, and it never really worked out. And I kind of just like, you know what, maybe that's a sign that this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. And I completed 2 years at SIU. I didn't end up finishing. School wasn't really my.
For you.
Well, yeah, it just wasn't my thing. I mean, I don't hate school.
What were you studying, if you don't mind me asking?
So I
terribly sorry to interrupt the content that you're enjoying right now, but if you've been watching our content for the past couple of months, you realize that Easy Talk is a brand new podcast. We're genuinely trying to figure this thing out as we're going. Some growing pains for sure. If you are genuinely enjoying this content, we feel very humble in that, but we would like to ask that you would also subscribe and like to the channel, simply because it does help us in the algorithms and ultimately to grow. So take a second. I'd really appreciate it. And on with the show.
Went in sports medicine. I ended up changing a few times. I think I went to like nutrition. I think I left psychology. That was like the last thing I was
Jesus.
on. Yeah.
Everyone gets a psych. Even Zach was like, I got a psychology major with a minor in business.
Yeah, and and if I ever, like I said, I'm not like completely backburnering it. And if I ever did go back, I would for sure change, because I didn't really like psychology either. It was just easier than what I was doing before. Like, all the science classes that I was in, I'm like, man, it was hard. And
what do you like doing?
Fighting. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, fighting is what I like doing. I mean, now that I've had some like time, I think like I would talk to my mom, like I think I would really go down like the nutrition aspect of it, more so because like I do cut a lot, like I cut weight, and I'm always Googling like what's the best food to, do this and that. I'm like, maybe I should go to school and actually, know.
Make a career.
Right. That's and I was like, maybe I could, once I finish fighting, I could, get this nutrition thing and be like a dietitian, sports or nutrition guy for fighters. I brainstormed a lot, but just at this part of my life, I'm just like, man, I don't think I can sit in a classroom.
Well, you're also a single guy with no kids. I mean, you're afforded every opportunity to do whatever it is that you want to do.
Yeah, and I mean, and like I said,
sorry, forgive me, you're not a single guy. You have a girlfriend, but you don't have any kids. No, like, you know what I mean? Sorry.
No.
Girlfriend's gonna watch this and be like, what?
Yeah, no kids. Yeah.
Why are you? No kids.
No kid. No, I don't have. No. Not that I hate. No, I mean, I'm not against it. I just this.
He's like, no kids that I know of.
No, I for sure I don't have any kids. But at this part of my life,
that's what someone with kids that didn't want anyone to know would say. I'm messing with you.
Mom, I don't have kids. But no, I just at this point in my life, kids would. I mean, I wouldn't. I'm not against kids. I'm not against having them.
No, you're young. When I was 25, I wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I got a lot of things I'm trying to do, and kids, I feel like would, hold me back from a lot. You gotta. Kids are a lot. I mean, because you have a kid.
I only have one that I know of. No, it's awesome, but it was also, it was like a turning point for my life. It was definitely like, okay, like it's not just about me anymore. So I get it completely. Speaking of the things that you wanted to do, you said like, I really want to fight. You started training at Finney's. You since left and went and followed Eric Steenberg when he opened up his own gym, ESMMA. And I don't believe, did you have a fight under Finney's, or did you wait to compete until you were under Eric?
So I had one fight. under Finney's. It was my very first MMA fight.
Just the debut.
The debut, yeah. I had one fight with Finney's, and just before, like, I had another one like I was one, and then I was ready for the next one. I was telling Rob, I'm like, give me another one, please, like, and I had one lined up, and then COVID ended up coming, and stuff started getting canceled. So then, that's honest, and that's what really I think kind of deterred my momentum in my career, and like kind of messed me up because like I think I didn't fight for
2 years.
2 years. Yeah, I was 20 years old when I had my first fight, and then I had my second fight at 22. So there was just a long like layover, and I think the thing that kind of messed me up is just I had the wrestling background, so I was used to competing all the time, and then so when I had that MMA fight, I'm like, yeah, this is kind of like the mindset was like I was like, yeah, this is kind of like wrestling. I had the mindset of that, and then 2 years off, I think I kind of lost that killer instinct, maybe, I don't know, because it was really weird. Like, I remember the whole like time I was there, like didn't feel comfortable the whole time. I was like overly nervous than I've ever been. I just felt everything just felt off. Like I was like, didn't even want to be there at one point, which I get those feelings now sometimes, but it's easier to like hone. I'm like, I'm like, shut up, Kendall. You've done this before. Like, just get out there and do your thing. But that day I was just like just out of it, and nothing was going right. Like, I mean, I made. When
you say that day, do you mean what, your second fight?
The second fight, the day of my second fight, like 2 years later, I believe it was like July. It was definitely summertime. It was July. It was and it was a title fight too. So it was like I was.
What, for your second fight?
Yeah. It was.
What was the promotion?
Knuckled Up promotion. So it was actually there. I've actually
talk about a step up. You're 1-0, and here's the title.
And I think that was what really kind of.
I had to win 6 fights before I got my first title shot.
Yeah, and I think that's what kind of messed me up too. Like mentally, I'm like, because I remember being there, and I'm like, well, I'm fighting for. I'm like 1-0. I remember I was 1-0, and I'm like, people were like,
who were you fighting? What was their record? Not. I don't really care who, but like, what was their record? Were they like exceptionally?
No, it was. Yeah, no, we were. I believe we were fairly similar. We were both. I believe he was like 2-0. It was like 1-0, 2-0, and
okay, so not too crazy.
It wasn't. It wasn't crazy. Like more experienced than I was. We were just both like. We were definitely both green. I mean, I don't care about saying Isaac. His name was Isaac Dance. We're cool now. Like we've trained together all the time now, and but we were both green. Like we were just, but we fought for a title, and I think that kind of. I was like, man, I'm 1-0 fighting for a belt. I thought I was cool. I was like, yeah. I was like, but like at the same time,
Kendall's like, mommy, we made it.
But at the same time, I was like, I remember just being in the back warming up. I'm like. Why am I fighting? Like, why am I fighting? I didn't think I did enough to fight for a belt. Like
that's weird to say. I mean, considering where does that thought come from? You didn't do enough.
Well, because like you said,
you only had one fight.
Yeah, like you said, you just like I fought for.
Brother, there's college wrestlers that go off and fight just for the UFC, like second or third fight. You know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's actually minuscule, right?
Right.
At least you're still an amateur. Like you didn't go pro immediately.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Those were just things floating through my mind. Like
at the time.
Like just you get those self-doubt thoughts like I said, I was like, do I deserve to be here? Like I only had one fight. I only won one fight. Am I trained well enough to be, I don't know. There was just things that I checking off the box. And that's why I was like, man, I probably shouldn't have. I'm competitive. Like if someone told me, right, like if Dana called Eric and hey, we want to fight Kendall, I would say, yeah. I'm like, do I think I'm necessarily ready? Sure, I don't know. I mean, but I would definitely.
You're gonna find out.
Exactly. That's kind of my mindset. I'm not gonna. I'm always saying yes. So and sometimes that gets me in trouble. But yeah, I got there.
But at the same time, because I think I know where you're going with this. It's kind of like were mistakes made. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but do you think that you made mistakes, or do you think that everything had to happen for you to be where you're at today?
I think that now.
Okay.
So back then I didn't. I was just like, I think I felt more so like I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't think I deserved to be there, but now I think everything that happened then was definitely prepared me for what was my success now. So like I'm on the win streak. I've been beating guys left and right. I think I had to learn how to lose and face adversity before I learned how to, go on this win streak and get all like the praise and people pat me on the back. And I feel like I always think like now, especially now, I'm like, all right, people have to go through things before you can get to the light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I went on a 4-fight losing streak and it sucked. Like it was
in mixed martial
in
arts.
MMA. Yes, in MMA. Like I was 1-4 in MMA for a long time up until 2 weeks ago. And
before we go up to 2 weeks ago, though, 1-4 in MMA, what is that going like? What's the thought process like going in your head? Are you doubting yourself? Are you thinking like, is this a sport for me?
100%. Like, I mean, even after losing, like I said, I'm super competitive. Even after losing that one fight in that title fight, I was just like, man, I suck. Like, and I was just like, and I probably shouldn't have thought that way. It's like, dude, you're a 1-1 and you just lost a title fight, and that's what I think now. And that's what I tell like young guys now that lose, that beat themselves up. Like I'm just like, dude, like you only lost once. You're young, and I'm like, man, I wish I would have had the same mentality myself, and I didn't. I thought I was 22. I lost one fight. I was 1-1. I lost a title fight. I had a lot of people counting on me. They were like, people saying you got this, and you're gonna get a belt this early, and you're gonna be 2-0. You're gonna be a killer. All these things, all these things, and it just got.
I
in my
hate
head.
the people that gas up other people. Like, dude, chill the fuck out.
And that's and it just I put so
Don't
much
be putting
pressure.
more pressure on me than
I put
already
so
on
much
myself.
pressure on myself to.
Where were these people at after you lost? Were they at least supportive or were they gone?
The ones that were supportive are still here today, and the ones that weren't are not anymore. So
they're gonna try to come back.
Oh,
They're
and
try to
they have,
they
have, and they still, I get the same ones, I knew you were gonna be. And it's like, bro, I give them a little thumbs up in the DM, and I'm just like, move on, But and they know who they are. Like I said, the ones who've always been there and supported me are still in my corner today, and have been to every fight, have, done things for me and support
the preparation,
exactly. So those are the only people I like surrounding myself with. I'm like, if you're just gonna be here to ride the wave of my win, like I don't need you to be around. Like, cool, I'll fist bump you, whatever. Thanks for coming, whatever. Thanks for saying congrats, whatever. But no, like I said, I was pretty down on myself after that loss, and I was like, where do I go from here? And I think the big problem was I was trying to get it back so fast. I'm like, when can I get in there again?
You were trying to break that momentum.
Right. And I was like, all right, I don't care who it is, just whoever, whatever. Let me get whoever's gonna be next, and just trying to erase
to get back in there,
yeah,
so that you could erase that loss as fast as possible.
Exactly.
Because in MMA specifically, you're only remembered for your last fight.
Exactly, and that was my whole mindset. I'm like, okay, if I can get in here quick, I can, make people forget, and I'll feel better about myself and feel like a winner again.
It was a one-off. It was whatever.
Exactly. And then I ended up, I don't remember how long it was in between the last fight, but I believe the one after that
was the one in LFA.
LFA, yes. It was the LFA one after that. And again, another pressure cooker, because I'm like, crap, man. Like, LFA. Like,
it's a big show.
Big show. And that was literally what was going through my head. Like, in the back.
Can I do a little devil's advocate, though? This is not like something that you're doing on a whim, right? It's not like, it's Friday, you're chilling out with the boys, and then Saturday you have to fight for LFA. This is something that you trained for, had a camp for, and all these other things. Mm. When you say that, like, these moments were kind of overwhelming the title, not overwhelming is a bad word to say, but the pressure was on the title fight, LFA, the fights afterwards. I mean, the argument could be made that you had ample time to, like, sit with yourself, internal dialogue, go over good, bad, and ugly.
Carry on. So for like a situational awareness, when he says that he fought like back to back, we're talking July 10th, 2021, August 27th, 2021, October 8th, 2021, and then February 22nd, February 12th, 2022, and then you got the win on my birthday, April 30th, 2022.
So like 1 month, 1 month, 2 months. Yeah, you were getting back into it, and duly noted, and that's good context for the people at home. Like, I'm not trying to negate. What I'm trying to do is like, every fight that I've ever had, I had at least an 8-week camp, more or less. Maybe some less, maybe some more, right? But there was always that downtime to like, you're in the sauna post workout, and all you're thinking about is like the night. What it's going to be like, what is my opponent going to do, what am I going to do, all these other things, right? And as you get closer to the fight, those feelings, those emotions, those thoughts only amplify. So my question to you is more like, second fight, you accept the title fight, you know that you're going to have the title fight, you know the opponent, you had a camp to prepare for it. Mm. I understand that it didn't go your way. And the second fight, you're rushing back in there, and I know it's LFA, and it's a big show, and like you're kind of accepting all of these pressure cooker moments. So like, is it fair to say that the pressure was put on you or that you put it on yourself?
I've
Because at any moment you could have said no,
I
right?
could have. I for sure put it on myself. But like I said, I was trying to really just erase what just happened previously. And I think it was after the losing streak continues, like, all right, something's got to give. I got to one of these times I'm gonna win, And it's like there was a point.
The odds are in my favor.
I was like, at some point, something's got to give, And I don't think I ever got over the loss before I got back in there. I think I never mentally was okay to go back into the cage. I've always been
doubting yourself when you say you weren't mentally okay.
For sure, I for sure doubted myself. That was like a big thing of mine. My mind has always been, my biggest enemy. When I was younger, or younger than I am now. Like I'd always beat myself before I even got out there. I'd be like, oh, this guy, or what I used to like. My mom will even tell you. I used to tell her all the time. You're like, oh, this guy has beat this dude, or he's on a win streak.
You're looking at his topology,
yeah, all that, and it's a horrible habit that I used to have because even in wrestling, I used to go to track wrestling. I'm like, dang, this guy's on this. He's ranked this, and crap, I should. It's just stuff like that, and that is just carried on into another sport. And I mean, I don't do that anymore. At the stage I am now, I don't really care. I'm just like, dude, we're gonna go in there. And
when you say you don't do that anymore, can you extrapolate?
I'm more so like I'm not.
Do you not watch film?
I watch film, but I'm not going in and looking at all his stats and seeing, okay, he beat this dude. That guy's really good. He beat this guy. He wrestled at this school.
Educating yourself.
Yeah, I'm just
instead of intimidating yourself.
Exactly. So like now I'm just like I've gotten so good at watching and picking apart fighters and their bad habits, the patterns they have. Like this just things that they do. Like I'm more so like Eric will be like, okay, you got this guy. I'll look him up, look at his fights, and I'm like dissecting everything. And I'm like, man, he sucks there. Okay, he's pretty good there. And I'm not intimidating myself. I'm more so learning about him and going back to the gym, working on what he's good at, so I can be able to beat him where he's good at. And it takes a lot of the stress off me.
That's an interesting perspective. Forgive me for interrupting you, but find out where he's good at so that I can beat him where he's good at.
That's.
So you're not looking for his weaknesses. You're looking for his strengths.
I'm always looking for I'm more so trying to figure out where this guy could potentially beat me at. Like, for example, the last guy that I just fought, really good wrestler, strong, super strong guy, really good wrestler. So the whole camp, I went up to Revive Jiu-Jitsu. I'm hammering grappling matches, or I did a grappling match. I'm training at Revive. I'm doing finding the best wrestlers I can get with, and just I barely did striking this camp. I was I told myself, and me and Eric were talking dude, you have the striking. You don't really. I mean, I trained, I polished up, but I wasn't hammering striking like I do a kickboxing match. I did a mitts here and there just to keep the cardio up, but I was majority.
Camp was very grapple.
It was very grappler heavy.
Well, if I may, so we're kind of all over the place, but it works for the narrative of the story. I mean, obviously, you're not necessarily having the success in MMA, but your ES MMA. Eric is much more of a striker than he is a grappler. And then you transitioned from competing solely in MMA to also competing in kickboxing. Yes. Explain to me that nuance and that trajectory. Was this a conversation you guys had? Was this you got to a certain point and you're like, are my hands the problem? Do I need a chance? Walk me through why you said, okay, we're going to take a pause on MMA right now, because obviously you came back to it, right? So it was just a pause. It wasn't like you were quitting MMA. We're going to put a pause on MMA. We're going to go transition to this other competitive martial art, kickboxing. What was that conversation like? Was it you went to Eric? Did Eric go to you? Was it mutual? Walk me through that.
I think it was for sure more mutual. It was I think I had lost my last MMA fight. It was for NFA, I believe, and I lost a really close split decision that
I thought you won that fight. For what it's worth.
Yeah. Everybody tells me that. I thought I won too, and at the end of the day, I guess it really doesn't matter. But I lost that fight, and then I remember, Eric, after I got done, bawling my eyes out, he was just he was like
a man,
yeah,
like a man,
crying, real man tears. But no, I finished crying. He let me, cry it out. He's, consoling me, and he was just like, hey, I guess there's you can only lose so many in a row in Missouri. Fighting in MMA, I think it's like 6 before they. I don't know, but
As an amateur,
regardless, he was just like, let's try
pivot.
Try to go do some still competing, but in a different different style. He's like, well, I didn't even know you could kickbox. And
well, hear me out on this one, because this is where I kind of have like an interest, right? I think for the most part, before I ask these questions, I think that this was the correct path to take to kind of transition out of MMA into like a striking oriented art, because you're at a striking oriented gym.
Yeah.
But like, the argument could have easily been made that like, let's just give you a tomato can, Kendall. Like, let's be honest. If you want a win, you can easily find one, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, you didn't choose to stick into MMA and then pad the record to get back to like a 500 record or anything like that. You chose to essentially compete in a different sport. Did you ever have that conversation of, do we just like have a gimme? Do we go down that path? Was it not something you wanted to do or even talked about doing?
Well, to be honest, the last MMA fight I had, I thought we thought that was the gimme. I mean, not being disrespectful. Like, that guy was like, if we ever faced each other today, I would be in and out of there in seconds. Like, when we thought that was what was gonna happen, that guy was not on my level then, even me losing. But
we can't say that. We can't say that because the fight was close. It was close enough for a split decision.
That's true.
I may have thought you won, but 2 judges out of 3 thought he won.
Yeah, that's true.
So I love you, and I agree with you to some extent, but we do have to, like.
That's true.
History is written in stone, right?
Right. I guess I'm more so trying to say, like, how I train for fights, where I train for the fight, and the skill set that I have. We weren't on the same level on that day. Yes, in the cage we were on the same level, but I honestly think, like I said, mentally, I beat myself going in those fights before I always had the skills to fight and be who I am today. I just didn't have the mentality that I needed to do to go into the fight. But yeah, like I said, we thought that was the gimme fight. So that's kind of why we were just like, okay, it's time to try something else. Because that was like, he gave me, like, I'm pretty sure he told me, he was like, we gave you the easiest guy we could find to help you, kind of get your wits about yourself. And so I was like, all right, well, I don't want.
Did you ever think about quitting?
For sure. Like, many times. But it's just the people, like my family and, the people that I have that actually care about me, they always saw in me what I didn't see in myself, and they were just like, you have it, you just have to find it yourself. And it took me a minute, and I think the kickboxing really helped me figure that out.
Did it ever occur to you to possibly see like a sports psychologist? I know we were just shitting on psychology, so the irony is not lost on me. But like, there have been other athletes that I've talked to, Damien Moriarty more than anybody, where I was like, dude, you need to go see like just for at least one session, like someone to like, what is this mental roadblock that's causing you to create mountains in your own head? You know what I mean? And then since then, me and him have had multiple conversations off camera. But with you, like, did it ever occur to you, like, these mental roadblocks, I'm building this opponent up to be this monumental task when he shouldn't be? Yeah. Were you thinking to yourself, like, should I talk to someone about this? Or do you think, no,
I mean, my mom, for sure, She had mentioned it, and I think being 22 and prideful,
like, nah,
and being trying to be cool, and you got, I said, I'm surrounded by like dudes, like, it's just it's not the cool way to go. You figure, men are supposed to figure their stuff out on their own, and that's the kind of mentality I had. Now, if you told me that, for sure, I would be like, yeah, sign me up. Where do I go? Who do I go to?
Can I tell you how hypocritical I am? If anybody were to come up to me and be like, I'm thinking about seeing a sports psychologist, I'd be like, do it. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But I will never fucking go see it. I know exactly what you mean. And like, if you were like, I'm thinking about doing this, I would gas you up like, fuck yeah, man, like, get over your roadblocks. Yeah. But if you were like, Aaron, you should go see a psychologist, I'm like, fuck, I am. There's nothing wrong with my brain.
And that's what I mean.
I am a hypocrite.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I was at like what I said, I've definitely grown so much. Like, and 22-year-old me would have been like, nah. And I didn't. I was like, I told my mom, like, I'm not doing that. I'm like,
I'll show you.
Nah,
knocks out everybody in kickboxing.
It's like, I didn't want to, and I honestly didn't know that kickboxing would help me turn. I thought it was. I didn't even know there was kickboxing. Like, I thought only MMA was the thing you could compete in.
Jesus Christ.
So, dude, I was like, kickboxing. I'm like, where am I going to do that at? I'm like, okay. And then so I got my
The underground.
I didn't know, but I got my first kickboxing fight, and it was
2022 or 2023? How long ago was the first one?
I think
20,
22.
Damn,
okay.
she's got the
Yeah,
tapology
yeah.
up. Atta girl.
Yeah, so I believe my first one was with NFA. Yes. So yeah,
Joseph Griner?
Josiah. Yes,
Okay.
cool with him too. We train a lot too. So but yeah, I had my first kickboxing fight against him, and I think just the light bulb or whatever you want to say, just the fire got relit because I felt myself feeling how I did in wrestling. Like when I was dominating a guy in wrestling, I just felt that same like feeling in my I don't know. You probably felt it before, where you're just like I'm the man, kind of feeling like
I feel it every time I wake up.
like you're just beating a guy.
And then my daughter beats it out of me.
Like you're beating a guy, and I got that feeling like I got comfortable again. I'm like, yeah, I need more of this. And
Yeah, but do you not, is the nuance lost on you that you see the difference? I don't know if it's necessarily in your effort to get that one back, you were digging yourself a hole.
for sure,
And it had to take you thinking that you were mentally out of that hole because this is a different sport. Yes, it's combat sports, but this is a completely different avenue in combat sports. And it was almost like, you shook the Etch-a-Sketch and like it's a blank slate. But like, is it, maybe this is an incorrect way to ask, but like, you were always that animal.
yeah,
I just think you were getting in your own way, and like, yeah, you had success in kickboxing, but I think that same success could have easily been achieved in
For
MMA
sure.
had you just gotten out of your way.
yeah.
Because you are a physically gifted man, right? So it's like and you have good coaches in your corner and good sparring partners and a good gym that you're going to. So like, logic would dictate that success would be the inevitable outcome.
Yeah, I agree. Like I don't know. I think like I said, I think the kickboxing was the best thing that happened. I don't know if I could have taken a year off and just trained for MMA and then or taken a year off just to train MMA stuff only and then come back and maybe I would have rewritten the whole story again. But I think winning in kickboxing and being in front of a crowd and feeling that feeling of winning again relit the fire and kind of switched my mind like, okay, I can pretty much take this same like feeling and put it into every sport. And that's why I'm like, all right, well, I did a kickboxing, let me try Muay Thai. It's similar. Did Muay Thai. I'm like, oh, I have 2 boxing fights. And I just took that same mentality that I had and I'm just like applied it to everywhere. And I'm just started beating guys left and right. I actually did take a loss in kickboxing but it didn't break me the way I
did in MMA.
Yeah, I was still obviously I was sad. It was a title fight, and at that point, I did think I deserved to be there because I was on a winning streak, and I'm like, yeah, I'm supposed to be fighting for this belt, and I got beat, and I was devastated obviously because I wanted to win the belt, but it didn't break me the way it made me hungry.
It didn't have that same negative
No.
affirmation that it did the first time when you were doing MMA. Do you
It
think it was maturity, experience?
For
You've
sure.
been there before.
Yeah, and it ignited a beast in me, and I was like, I'd never want to feel that again, and I haven't. I mean, that was my last loss. Like it's been a year, almost 2 years almost, and I'm just like, I never wanted to feel that again. And I got in the gym, I started training again, and I started beating really good guys again. I'm like, yeah, it just brought my confidence up more. Like I started just knocking off this guy, that guy, this guy in this state. He's the best guy in this state. Cool, I started getting really confident. Like I can beat any of these guys. I just have to get out of my own way. And that's kind of what got me to, get my win back in MMA 2 weeks ago. Like I literally asked Eric, I'm like, hey, and Lance, I'm like, give me the hardest guy.
I know who Eric is. Who is Lance? Forgive me.
Lance, he's the guy. He's the guy that he NFA. He get Lance DeClue.
Oh, Lance DeClue, the matchmaker.
Forgive me, I'm sorry. I probably should have. Yeah.
I thought Lance like at the gym. Sorry. Okay.
No, Lance DeClue. I was like, I want the hardest available 155er in MMA on the next show, and he's like, you don't want. I mean, he like asked me, you don't want to like a tune up or
yeah, but you're missing some clarity on this one. You had just like spinning back fist knocked out some guy in a kickboxing fight, so it's not like you were riding the low of a loss from a title fight. You actually had just been riding the high from a knockout, a spectacular knockout victory.
Right. And yeah, because I mean, people, every time I win a kickboxing fight, hey, when you going back to MMA? I'm like, I don't really know, guys. I'm trying to. I won like 3 belts. this year, and I was just like, I'm just trying to collect as many trophies and belts as I can, beat the best guys that I can, but then I was gonna turn pro actually before this last fight, and Eric was like, "Hey, if you ever plan on doing MMA, I need you to do one more amateur fight because I don't want you doing a pro MMA fight being 1-4 and never done another." And I was like, "All right."
Are you thinking about going pro? When you say I'm going pro, forgive me for interrupting. Are you thinking about going pro in kickboxing, MMA, boxing?
I'm gonna
all of it.
All of it, yeah.
Well, you're gonna have to go pro in all
for
of it
sure.
once you
Yeah,
go pro. But
that
where's
was
the
more his thing.
mentality of competition at? Kickboxing, MMA.
In the beginning, yes, I'm gonna start off doing kickboxing just so to work the jiu-jitsu aspect of it. I wanna continue to hammer jiu-jitsu and get better off.
If you don't mind me asking, what is this fixation on MMA if you're having more success? Not more success. That's not the way to describe it, but like you're having an immense amount of success in kickboxing. Why are you kind of fixated on this mixed martial arts path?
I mean, I just like combat sports, period. But like I said, I've always been a fan of UFC, and it'd be cool to be a UFC.
That's where you're gravitated.
Yeah,
towards.
I mean, like I said, I wouldn't mind if I fought in Glory or any of the. I wouldn't care about fighting there,
but do you have a preference and it's MMA?
I don't know if it's more of a preference or just more of I want to do it all.
You want to do it all?
Yeah, I like Alex Pereira. He was a Glory kickboxing champ. He's over now a UFC champ. It's kind of like those kind
I
of
also had boxing matches.
That too, and it's like Israel Adesanya did the same thing. And it's like those kind of people. Like that's what I'm like. Man, he's done.
Are they role models for you?
Yeah, like for sure. Like I mean. I'm a big Max Holloway fan, but if I
it is what it is.
right. But no, like it's guys like Israel and Alex, like I looked at their careers and like you said, Israel's had I don't know his exact record, but I know he has winning records in boxing, kickboxing, and MMA. I'm like, that's what I want to do. I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to.
But they also did the thing where they were like, really fixated on one martial art, and maybe they would dabble in the MMA. But they were really, specifically speaking for Alex Pereira and Israel Adesanya, they were multiple-time world champions in multiple organizations, both Glory and elsewhere. Then they made the jump to the UFC, right? I guess what I'm trying to ask you, if the goal is, let's say, is your next fight, is that what you want to be a pro?
It'll more than likely be kickboxing or Muay Thai.
Okay, but professional?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to then kickstart that professional career, and as all professional athletes know, once you cross that threshold, there is no going back now.
Exactly.
So now you're a pro in everything, including MMA, whenever you decide, if you ever decide to go back.
Exactly.
So my question is, you kind of sound like you want to dabble in everything, which is, in my opinion, a healthy approach. But then you say that your mentors or your role models are people who really fixated on one martial art competition before transcending that. What is the avenue you're kind of anticipating taking? Are you trying to just basically for the next 2 years, I'm going to do kickboxing, see how it goes, and then transition, or maybe ride that wave? Or am I going to take a kickboxing bout and then maybe a professional boxing bout and then a professional MMA bout and kind of dabble in everything? Do you want to be a jack of all trades, master of none? Are you trying to be a master of something? What is your goal? You can't be a master at all.
That's true. Yeah, I for sure want to. I think I'm gonna be taking the route of I'll do a kickboxing match, and if a boxing match comes up, I'll train for that and go fight there. But I think more so whatever I'm having, I think in my mind it's whatever I'm having more success in, and I feel the most comfortable, I guess, at doing is where I'm gonna be screw all those, I'm gonna go this route, But yeah, in the beginning, I believe I'm just gonna jump around and just find my. I guess my path or what I like more. I mean, like I said, I love it all. I have fun doing all of it. This year I've done, like I said, I've done a boxing match. I've done a kickboxing. I've done Muay Thai, and I just did MMA, and I had fun in all of them. To be honest, I will say I did have more fun boxing because it's just just hands. I'm cool. I don't think I even felt really nervous for that. I was all I have to do when I go from having to worry about elbows, knees, kicks. And now all I have to do is worry about you punching me, dude. I was having a field day, and then you put on amateurs. You have to wear headgear, so it just felt like sparring. But I don't know. Obviously stand up is where I've excelled more in, and where I do feel the most comfortable in fights. I'm if I can keep it standing, and
which is ironic considering your background.
and everybody says that, but I don't know. It's just I've gotten so comfortable and gotten so defensively sound. It's just I don't really feel like a lot of guys can, at my level, can touch me because it's I just gotten so good, and I've really honed in and focused so hard on striking that it's just like where I've gotten comfortable. But
Well, you say that, but then you've also done a lot of cross training. So if I may ask, why the cross training element? Are you trying to look for something? You know, a lot of times when I cross trained, the reason I did it was essentially because I wanted to kind of like test my mettle against other guys around the area.
yeah,
When you do cross train, like when you go to Revive for jujitsu or whatever, you're not necessarily competing in jujitsu. So I don't know if you can necessarily say the same thing I did. Like I would cross train to spar guys.
yeah,
I wanted to see like, all right, motherfucker, like where do we hang
Yeah.
together? But I wouldn't go like to like a jujitsu gym and just roll. I would go in for Sunday fun days and like put my headgear on and put my mouthpiece on and see where I stood with some of these
Yeah.
guys. So your cross training at Revive and other gyms, where does that? I want to be careful how I ask this question because like the answer should be obvious, but I want to ask it in a way that is a little bit more in depth because obviously cross training has value. It's like not everyone knows everything, so
Right.
see from everybody. But you're not going to compete in jujitsu, are you?
I mean, I did. I had that jujitsu match.
So you're even doing
2
grappling.
weeks. Yeah, I
matches
left that
now.
out. So I had one jujitsu match. Like I think it was like a week before my MMA fight. It was like the week Adam Sellers show. CX.
BJJ,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was like a week before the Nemesis show, and I did that just for
Shits and
it
giggles?
was fun. I mean, the different atmosphere of like of being in a competition setting, and like I said, I just like competing. I like challenging myself, and I went up against a guy. We were pretty much the same level. It was
Was he from Glory, right?
yes, yeah.
'Cause James was in town.
Yeah, it was a Glory guy, and I'm like, screw it. I'm not gonna cut any weight, and let's just go see what happens. And I didn't end up winning. Didn't really.
Dude, it was.
I don't.
Can I do this some justice? It was like a weird match where like neither, like you were trying to take him down, and he was kind of like stuffing
Yeah.
the takedowns, and then you just finally pulled guard. 'Cause
Yeah,
you're like, "Can we
because
do
and
something?"
I did that, and so because people were asking like, "Why'd you pull guard?" I'm like, "Guys, I'm in a jujitsu match, whatever." Like
Yeah,
somebody
who
had to break the
cares?
seal,
Yeah.
I was like, otherwise we're just gonna be wrestling each other for 5 minutes. And
You know what's crazy too is like I like to think that I'm a pretty good like grappling. I've done grappling since I was 13, right? From wrestling and jiu-jitsu and all this other stuff. So for the better part of like 15, 16 years. I don't know what they're scoring jiu-jitsu on because it's like I get the submission attempts and stuff like that, but throwing up submission attempts and failing miserably is like the equivalent of like throwing jabs that never land. It's like, okay, yeah, your volume, but like none of this is doing anything.
Right.
Jiu-jitsu is like a weird one for me to score because it's like, do you guys not see that this is just like they're trying to put up points?
Yeah.
And I do love grappling as
Yeah.
much as I love striking. I love it all, similar to you.
Yeah.
And by the way, I also competed in everything as an amateur. You know what I mean? When I went pro, I kind of fixated on MMA, but as an amateur, I did MMA, kickboxing, boxing, jiu-jitsu. I did it all, right? But there's something that needs to be changed about the way they do jiu-jitsu matches because that just doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
Yeah.
First of all, I would love to see a score on the board because it's like if we're gonna score like half guard pass and all the other shit, then put it on there,
Right.
or make it submission only. It was such a weird thing because like you were the only one that was kind of like initiating change in the action, and then they gave the decision to the other guy.
I was so.
And people asked me, they're like, "How do you think Kendall did?" I was like, "He has to win because he was the only one doing anything."
Yeah.
And then they give the one to the other guy, and I'm just like, "Okay, maybe I don't know anything about grappling." Like, and here's the thing, I think the world of like Jordan Dowdy and all them, and they're one of the judges, so I need to sit down with Jordan and be like, "The fuck are you guys seeing that I'm not seeing? Because I'm not seeing anything there."
Like I said, I wasn't mad about it. I told everyone. I was like,
This is a one-off for
Yeah,
fun.
I told my parents came and like I was like, guys, I'm gonna go press.
Wholesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna go press my parents. That big shout out to them. They don't miss anything. Like it.
Really?
They have not missed an event. Like since I started at 20, they have been to everything. So that's a big help too. But like I said, I told them I'm going out there I'm gonna press the issue, but I'm not trying to get hurt. I'm like, I have a fight like literally the next weekend, so I'm gonna go push the pace and see if me pushing the pace is gonna get me a decision because I'm not a submission guy. I mean, I knew that everybody.
Not with that attitude.
Yeah. I was like, I mean, I'll try.
Flying go-go plata.
like-
That's what I was expecting.
I was like, I'll try. If it's there, I will. If it's one of the 3 submissions I know how to do is there, I will throw it. But I was like, whatever. But I was like, I think I did enough to get my hand raised, and I was confused when I didn't. But I was like, whatever. Let's just focus on winning next weekend, which I did. But it was
If you don't mind me asking, who's the BJJ coach over at Eric? Is it Corey
so we
Beck?
have 2 guys. We have Dwayne McCants. He's a brown belt, I believe, and Corey, who's also a brown belt.
Okay.
So
That's
yeah,
what
we
I
have They alternate days. It's just court. We also have Colin. He's a purple belt, and he helps out a lot too. So we have some good classes. Like it's fun. I more so went to Revive just to challenge myself because I know that's pretty much a grappling only school, and like I got smashed. I mean, I went there to get smashed. Pause. But
No kids, Mom, I promise.
but no, it was it was a good challenge for me. I mean, those guys they're really cool, really nice, but they
Well,
beat
you're also
me
going
up.
in there and throwing ego, leaving it at the door.
And that's how I do it. If I go to any gym, I'm like, unless we're sparring, I mean, I don't really have an ego when I'm sparring. I want to win, obviously, but I'm not gonna be mad if you get the better of me. I'm like, cool, you're better today. Hopefully next time I come, I'm better. But I always had that kind of attitude, and I think that's why people like training with me. I'm not trying to
win the day.
Yeah, who cares? Like I'm not gonna be better than everyone. Like I'm gonna have days where I don't feel good. Like I came here, I'm training, I don't feel the best, but I showed up anyways. And maybe you feel really good today and you got me, but that's just how I approach training. I'm just like it's just training at the end of the day.
What do you do like in between camps? What do you do in between fights, or at this point in your life, is it just fight to the next fight, to the next fight, to the next fight? Do you have off time? Do you take downtime?
Oh yeah, I mean, like you're like, what do I do for fun? Like more so
I mean like what do you do in between fights? I mean, so for me, I'll give you an example. For me, COVID specifically, I really worked on my professional life. Like that was just like the goal that I was going for. I was like, okay, well, if I can't fight, then I'm gonna pursue this other aspect of my life, right? And I guess what I'm trying to ask you is, do you have all of your eggs in one basket, or is there something else that you're kind of doing in conjunction with martial arts that has like a passion project for you? Some people it's like graphic design. Some people it's, I don't know, making ships and bottles, whatever it is. Like what are some of the things that you gravitate towards outside of fighting that either make you money, could possibly be a career someday, is a passion project, any entrepreneurial goals? What is it? When you're not training at ESMMA?
So I live a very boring life. I go to work. I work in dialysis for BJC. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a passion, but I like my job. I've had many opportunities to move up, but the hours that it would change my hours, and the hours that I work are perfect for training. So I work. I game. That's like a big thing.
Video games?
What are
you playing?
Right now, Black Ops 6.
Oh, you fucking normie. God, is it only shooters?
Yeah. No. I just depends on the friends I'm playing with. So I have my African American group of people that I play with, and we play NBA 2K. And then I have my more. Yeah, I'm making it racial.
That might be the most racist thing that's been said on the podcast. We're 52 episodes in, and Kendall whited.
Yep.
I only play NBA 2K with my black friends.
I mean, if
they can't play Black Ops.
I mean, they play too, but it's like I have different friends for that.
Oh my god! Oh no!
I hope I can't
Christ.
get canceled this. Right?
And we're done. That was it. I was the one that did it. No. I laugh because I'll be honest with you. That's actually the one thing. That's the one guilty pleasure I still can't like kick.
Yeah.
And I have like a fucking stacked week, and the gaming always when I was little, I used to play like real big MMORPGs. I loved World of Warcraft. When I was like 13, 14, 15, WoW was my shit. You know what I mean? But then like, you go to high school, a little less time, college, even less time, adulthood, even less time. And like the nature of my gaming changed throughout my life because I needed to go from, especially now, holy shit, I'm a normie for real, dude. I went from like a hardcore gamer to like a casual to like barely a gamer to now I'm like a dad gamer where like I have maybe like an hour free a night and I'll play something that I can pause in case the baby's crying, in case the dog needs to be let out. And I like that. I'll tell you why. Because it's like the one fucking hour or the hour and a half that I have to like put the headphones on and just escape. I don't think about business, my responsibilities. It's almost like a therapy to me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm from the same. I don't have a kid, but obviously I'm in the same boat, kind of where it's like
that we know of.
Yeah. But no, I relate to that because me and my friends always joke about how like we're not as good as we used to be, and like it's like now, like when we were in middle school,
You talking about in video games?
in video games,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
yes. Like we would you know, we always joke like when we were in middle school, we were the ones like telling the 20 people in their 20s, get a job, you suck. And you know, getting killed, they were killing them and making them feel bad. And now it's reversed, and now it's like I'm playing Call of Duty, and like I'll get killed and hear the voice chat of like a 10-year-old kid like get eat nuts or whatever, you suck. And I'm just like have the tables turned, like God, we are getting smoked, and the kids are like 13, and it's like
I have a good one-liner you can steal. Don't make me find your mom on Tinder. Coming over, call you, having you call me stepdad real quick.
But it just sucks. It's like, I mean, I play, and obviously, like I said, I don't
Dude,
have
gaming is competitive.
Yeah, I mean,
Ever since like Twitch and all that
it's
shit,
like people are.
you go and like what your casual 1 hour is. That's why I can't really do multiplayer games anymore, because like I'm a competitive guy.
It's hard,
and because
man.
I can't dedicate the time to be like exceptionally good at a video game. It's like I'll get on and just get absolutely fucking obliterated, and then I got some like little tea bagging me, talking about like how he's gonna fuck my mom, and his balls haven't even dropped. And I'm just sitting there, a grown ass man, like.
Yep, it's like, what can I do? It's like, because I don't know, and it's
fucking Timmy Tea Time is like blowing my shit up. I can't do shooters anymore because of that.
Yeah,
I used to love PUBG and Warzone and all that.
Yeah.
But then like it dawned on me that like me and the boys were getting on. I always told my wife, I was like, listen, because she would be like, why are you playing video games? I'm like, this hour and a half, I was like, if I wasn't here with the boys, we'd be at the bar.
It's an
like
escape,
in a lot of ways, NBA 2K or your shooter or whatever, you get on with the boys. It's like the virtual hangout spot, right?
Yeah.
Everyone had their day at work, everyone did their fucking shit, and everyone's like just trying to like relax for the night before they call it a night, right? And we were getting our asses destroyed in some games.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I'm like, we're basically like getting on to try to like relax. And, like, we're
Now
getting
you're stressed
tilted
out.
because like little fucking Timmy Tea Time
Yeah.
is blowing my shit up. So like finally I decided, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna go to like single player games. The other thing too was like the fact that like if everyone's got kids now, so like if you do Warzone, right, or NBA, let's just say, you can't really like pause an online game. So like you have an obligation.
Yeah.
And if you have a squad of 4 people and like, one guy's got to go away, well now you're 25% less likely to win this match, right? And it sucks because if you only have an hour and a half and a match can go like 20 minutes, that's a good portion of your night.
Right.
And it kind of dawned on me. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a step back and like just like play single player games where I can truly sit down, throw on a podcast, throw something on that like and it has been an immense joy in my life. I have turned into a dad gamer.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I mean, you still playing. I mean, it's really an escape. Like that's like I said, my parents, my girl, they'd always be like, "Oh, why don't you hang out with your friends?" And it's like we are.
Fuck my friends.
It's like we are hanging out. Like this is us hanging out. I mean, it seems stupid. You put on a headset, but it's like we're all like in between games. We're like
Does she play no games whatsoever?
No, no. I mean, she'll watch, but she.
I got my wife on Animal Crossing on her phone. I'm like, see, you like that? You like that? Well, I like this.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's cool. Like we'll have the headset on. We'll in between games we'll talk about life, like what's bothering us. Like it's really like we're connecting. But like you said, it's not like going to the bar and getting trashed. It's like
Before
you're in the
you had to
home.
physically meet up. Now you can do so
Virtual.
over. I will say this though, there has never been anything created by man so rancid and awful as like Xbox Live.
Yeah,
Dude, when I used to play like Call of Duty, like I would get on and the screeching teenagers yelling hard R's. Dude, you would get into the lobby.
That is why I have such thick skin. I'm like, I'm telling you now, it's like I tell people like they're like, you're not afraid. Like people will be like random, like casual. They'll be like, you're not afraid of like the guy like talking trash to you before your fight. I'm like, do you not understand?
I hear so much.
I have like, there is nothing this guy can say that I have not already heard on the headset playing like Modern Warfare 2 in 2030. It's like I've heard it all. What can he say?
Every guy right now is gonna be like, yeah.
I've heard it all. Like
that's a true.
It's like if anything, I hope they find something new. It's like, bro, cool. Like you're gonna say the hard R. It's like, bro, find something new, bro.
Bro, when I hear people talking about like casual conversation, like, oh, that's a sexist thought, I think to myself, like, really? I was like, go check out this lobby, brother. You're gonna hear some shit that'll open your eyes. You're gonna get tame real quick.
Like, and you had to like back then.
Dude, anonymity is the worst in people. Oh my god.
Yeah.
it brings out like, you know what I mean? It brings out the worst. Like
Yeah.
social media is kind of bad, but when you throw like the ability to voice chat in a video game
Yeah,
is
it's
very
like-
competitive. And like maybe you like, you know, in NBA, like you get the game win and like you hear the guy for like the thing I hated about Warzone, and I know they did this shit on purpose, is like when you would get killed or kill someone, they could hear you for like 3 or 4 seconds.
You're like,
The rancid shit that you could spew in 3 to 4 seconds, like, dude, like you would wish death upon their lineage in like 3 seconds. And if you died, it was like hard. It was always a hard R of some sort.
100%.
Always a hard R.
100%.
And then it was like some sort of like, I hope you die. And it's like crickets. I was just like, well, you know, I'm a white Albanian, but good try.
yeah, man. I'm telling you, like, I kind of like I said, it's kind of like for me, I'm glad it happened because it made me tougher. Like, it's like a lot of the kids nowadays, like, they don't understand. It's like, oh, I hear about you're getting cyberbullied. It's like, dude, you're getting like he said that to you. It's like, bro, come on. I don't know. I guess it's just
Kendall grew up in the mean streets of Xbox Live.
100%. I mean, if you had to be there. I mean, great times. I mean, I had a fun time.
That was crazy. Like that.
That Modern Warfare 2, like Halo and all those games. I mean, I was 13, 14. And
That's when I realized that like there were no adults. They were just like old children.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I remember the first time I got on a Xbox Live Halo 2, I was maybe 8 years old, 9 years old. So maybe a little older than you on this one. But like I got on and I'm like, you know, the worst thing I've ever heard in my life was like my friend telling me to shut up. You know what I mean? I get on here and it's just like we take the headphones off like, Mom.
I mean, really, that's how I got good at like flaming people. It's like you have to be on your toes. Like you got to be able to respond back. And I don't know if my parents would have heard the things that were said to us in that headset, she would have taken that thing away so fast.
Oh my God.
Like, but
The worst thing my mom ever did was buy us an Xbox. And the best thing my mom ever did was buy us an Xbox.
I mean, she didn't even want me to have live for the longest time. Not because she knew about she was just like, you don't need to be. She thought that we were just gonna be like, I was gonna be creating like, which I did. I got random friends from all over the world, but like, she was like, I don't want you talking to like grown men and like, you know, try to, you know, get in trouble that way. But I'm like, no, I'm gonna be with my friends.
What do you mean?
Like you know, like you know now, like you know, there's predators out there like trying to.
Very fair.
You know what I mean? Like so.
They've always existed. Now they're among us.
It's worse, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like, I think that's more so what she was kind of afraid of. She's like, I don't know, that's kind of weird to me, you know. But eventually, you know, she gave in after like countless times of me begging for it because my friends are like, dude,
That's a very real fucking fear nowadays, dude. The amount of
oh
like,
yeah, it's
I don't know if it was because the internet exacerbated it, like made it worse,
I don't-
or if it just like it was always that bad, and that the internet was like the transparency, the sunlight kind of thing.
Yeah.
But have you ever seen like sex offenders around me? It's like something you can Google, bro.
yeah,
Don't.
yeah.
Don't. It ruined me because now I have like 6 within like a 1 mile radius of me, and I'm just like, what the actually do? You should probably know about these things.
Yeah.
But it's granted there's varying rates of like these sex offenders and like predators and stuff. Like you have someone who like, you know, pissed in public, got caught by a cop, now they're a sex offender for life,
Yeah.
which you could argue about like the morality on that one. But then there's like, you know, enticing a minor type shit. Actually Dustin Lampros.
He
does that
yeah,
360
man. I keep up with that. It's cool. Like, and I'm not mad at him for
No,
doing
he's
that.
doing
It's
the
cool.
Lord's
It's
work.
like, yeah,
He's
it's
like-
like, man, like I don't feel bad for. I mean, like, I don't know. Like I said, I think that's what I'd be. If I had a kid now, I'd be terrified too. It's like I don't want. I'd kill.
No,
man.
no. I told my wife, I'm like, listen, I have a daughter first, and I was like, that means that I get a pass. I was like, I will go to prison. I will be that fucking father.
Yeah, I have that. I don't even have a kid, and I have that mentality.
Yeah.
Like it's like, I
say for a daughter, but I'm sure if I had a son, it would be
for sure,
identical.
Yeah.
You know.
So yeah, I mean, I get why she was so like hesitant, but
Can I ask you a question? This competitive nature in streaming for video games is kind of weird for me because it's like I always go back to like who cares, but I guess you can make that argument like every sport. Like okay, like John Jones is the heavyweight world champion, right? Like some guy playing Rocket League is like, well, I don't give a fuck about that, right?
Yeah.
But then like I see these guys like streaming and like playing video games like very competitively and all that stuff, and I think to myself like, how legitimate is esports? Like truly, do you watch esports? I don't.
I don't watch it, but I've seen like live events. Like they sell out. Like they they actually do really well. Like
at the highest level.
yeah, I guess yeah.
That's like me saying, "Oh, the Super Bowl has."
Ah,
Like,
yeah,
you know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like Super Bowl is a great success. Yeah, but like, what is like a casual game
I guess.
at the Cleveland Browns like? Are they selling out the stadium every game?
Right.
I hope. You know.
I don't know. I don't know what. I don't know. Like I guess what you mean. Like if they like it's like coming up in the amateurs for esports. I don't know what they do.
I guess what I'm trying to say is the question I'm trying to say is I don't know if it's good.
Yeah.
Like I like that more kids now have like some sort of outlet for whatever it is that they're passionate and good towards. So like I don't want to like sit there and be like, this is stupid.
Right.
I fully acknowledge that it's probably one of these things where like I'm not really able to wrap my head around, so maybe I'm a little biased towards it.
Right.
But like especially for young men, so like I was a social guy who did sports and school and all these other things, and then I also chose to play video games. But I worry if like the opposite of that happens, like these guys that like choose not to be social, chronic introverts, don't really want to assimilate or benefit at all to society, and then just kind of just like ride this sunset into this digital world that they can kind of escape from reality from.
Right.
And you know, for me, I play like an hour and a half, and then I'm a functioning member of society. I'm delivering to my family and protecting and providing and all these things. And I just worry because I could have easily seen the slippery slope when I was like 13, 14. I really loved WoW, and I was like, I don't really want to go to school. This is stupid.
Right, yeah.
I just want to play games with the boys, you know what I mean? And then that's how you kind of make a docile like male population.
Yeah.
But then you look at a lot of these like athletes, and they're also playing video games. So maybe I'm putting like too much emphasis on this. But do you think I'm like stretching when I say I don't know if it's healthy? I don't know. And then games are only getting better.
Yeah.
The shit you and I played compared to the like you get on like these Unreal Engine games that look like real life. And I'm just like, okay, how long until you throw on the fucking visor and now you're in a different world,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
why would you ever want to go back to the one where you pay taxes?
Right.
It's
yeah.
a slippery slope to like, okay,
Yeah, I stopped playing I have an Oculus. Like I have the first one. I put it on. Sometimes I get scared. I'm like, I'm good with that. It's weird. But yeah, I get what you mean. I guess it's weird for me. Like, I guess if you're making a lot of money, like there is some streamers that are like making
vast minority.
Okay.
That's like me saying go out for boxing because Floyd Mayweather made $1 billion.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, all right.
Yeah,
like,
I guess that's what I'm saying. Like if you're doing that, if you're doing what they're doing and you're not making that kind of money, then it's a problem. You know what I mean?
fair. Yeah. Okay. So I think we may agree on this then. Like I would never say like for someone like that's making like millions of dollars like playing these sports, like dude, do your thing. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about like, okay, let me give it to you another way. How many like failed athletes do we know? Like the high school basketball player that never made it, whatever. At least they still did basketball, which was like this like healthy endeavor, right?
Yeah.
If you're sitting there at home playing these video games and like you try to make it to like the pro league of like whatever esports team you're trying to be on, or maybe be a streamer, and you fail, not only do you have like that same stigma of failure, but then you're also like kind of actively conducive to an unhealthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
Now I'm not saying that like playing video games and trying to stream and stuff like that is unhealthy, but like if you were to take like the average, you know, basketball player, football player, lacrosse guy, and the average Fortnite streamer, look at their body frames, look at their body types. I doubt, you know what I mean? And then, but here's the fun kicker. There's like the proportion of people that stream that are successful is like less than the proportion of people that go out for sports and are successful.
That's
so
true.
it's actually harder to be a successful streamer than it is to be like a professional athlete.
Right.
Mind blown. It makes sense though, because it's so easy to get into streaming. Anyone can get into streaming, where not every. I love basketball. It's not for me. Not because of my height, not because of my skin color, because I can't shoot the ball. Because I can't shoot the ball. I'm not good at anything in basketball, but I like the sport. But I can also like, you know, I could probably play like NBA 2K, but I can't be good enough to fucking beat the guys that play that all the time or like are exceptionally good at it. I just worry because I always think to myself, like, if this endeavor that you're pursuing fails, do you at least leave with some sort of skill set?
I feel
And in
like
martial arts, you do.
for sure. And I feel like for the gamers, I feel like you have to, if I were to do it, I would do it similarly to how I'm doing like my fight career. I would have something else that I'm doing. Like I would do, like if I'm like I go to work, say I'm going to work, and then I come home and then dedicate like a couple hours to my streaming craft.
Or whatever.
Like if that's what I wanted to do, I would never. I think it would be terrible if you're, especially in streaming, if you're just sun up to sundown trying to become a streamer and trying to get the viewers. I just feel like that's scary. If anything, it's like, crap, I have to, now I'm playing these games and I have to be good and I have to do all this because it's all I got. That's what I mean. So that's all I have. So if I was doing it, I would treat it like my career. I'm going to work. I have a job. I have other hobbies, and I'm going to train because, all right, I'm trying to make it to somewhere. But if I fail or get hurt, I have something else to go back to, and I could do my job. I could go back to school and try to figure out something else to do. I just feel like you said, like if you're putting all your eggs in one basket, being a streamer, yeah, you're not gonna have
Let's take a step back from that though. What happens when it's not so much like this top echelon guy? Like if you have this guy who's like, like Michael Jordan back when he was little, shooting free throws in his backyard, he goes on to be Michael Jordan. So then like you look back on it and say like, oh, well, that's the right thing to do, right? Like the investment paid off. I just worry because I see like this recession of men from society, from like the due diligence of what it means to be a man. And I'll be the first person to tell you, like, I'm a toxic masculine man. I hold the door open. I would take a bullet for my wife before her. Like I'm the protector, provider. And there's like, in my opinion, there's a lot of good that comes with that and a lot of bad, right? But what I don't like is this like recession of men nationally kind of steering away from the responsibilities that I think, and I don't know if it's just video games, to be completely frank with you. Man, it's there's a lot of things. I think video games is just like one layer to that onion, or maybe one avenue to those rabbit holes, right? I think it's also put to be frank with you, I think there's like an active war on men, at least there has been for the past couple of years, where it's just like there's a lot of like masculine traits that have been vilified and demonized, and I'm just like, well, hold up now. Like when I was growing up, like I was taught to be strong and to hunker down and kind of like shell my emotions because like when the shells are flying, so to speak, you can't overreact to these monumental occasions. I'm not necessarily saying war. I'm talking about like whatever happens in life. Imagine like a scenario where like you and your girlfriend are out and like some guy shows up and you're hiding behind her. Yeah. Come on now, right? So it's like, is that a toxic masculine trait that I don't think my wife can defend me? Maybe. But is it a good masculine trait that I feel like I should be protecting my wife? Yeah. So I don't know if you got to take the good with the bad. I think we can do I think you can walk and chew bubblegum where you can promote masculinity and also kind of like disseminate the toxic aspects of it without throwing the baby out with the bathwater and just saying like masculinity is toxic. Like, go fuck yourself. Right. I love the fact that I'm a man, and I love the fact that like I'm a protector, a provider. I have my wife and my child, and I take my responsibilities very seriously. I've never felt more like a man. Right. When I was younger, I used to think that like, oh, I have women that want to be with me. I got men that want to be me. Look at me, I'm the man. Now that I'm an older guy, I'm just like, no, it's all about the responsibility that I'm taking on my shoulders, and like I'm bearing the brunt of the next generation. Like that's what it means to be a man, right. To mentor, to facilitate the next generation the way it was done to me. And I worry because I think I think women are in a very healthy trajectory. I've never seen in my lifetime women more empowered, more emboldened, with more opportunities, and if the goal is true equality, we're in that trajectory. But what I would have liked to see is men stay static at the very least and women grow. But I think what's happening is like women are growing and men are receding. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that that's eclipsed. Like I would rather be a man than a woman, right? Like I'll be the first person to say that. I think women have it harder than men. For sure. That being said, I don't think that women ascending should also come to the cost of men descending. Before I continue this topic, I'm curious, do you see this? Is this the first time you're hearing about this? What are you seeing in your anecdotal evidence, like with guys your age? Because you're 6 years younger than me, so not a whole generation, but like enough of an age gap to where it might make a difference. Like guys 25, 24 years old, are you seeing that they're like, less responsive to masculine tendencies? Are they more inclined to leave a woman if they're pregnant, or, would they run away from responsibility versus run towards it? I'm curious to see your thought on this.
I for sure, I mean, like you said, it's definitely declining.
Even with your age bracket?
Yeah. But like I said, I'll go to, like, if I'll go out, like we'll go to the grocery store or something, like I'm always like, I'll hold the door for my girl, and then if there's another family of people coming, I'll hold the door for them.
Chivalry isn't dead.
Yeah, right. And it's like, but then I'll see I'll observe someone else, and I'll see like around my age, and like open the door, headphones in or head down, open the door, let it swing, and hit the little old lady or something. I'm just like, are you serious? Like, come on. And then so it's like I for sure see a decline where I like, or I'll talk some people that I'll talk to like like even if it's people that just randomly come through the gym and like I'm like picking their brain. It's like I'm like, what do you mean you wouldn't want to cook for your girl or like defend your girl? Like, oh, it ain't my problem. Or it's like, what do you mean? Like, I thought like that was.
That's what I mean. The shying of responsibility.
That's right. So it's
and
like
that could be looked at as like a toxic masculine trait. Like, I think men should protect women, not my women. Women.
Yeah.
If I walk down the street and there's some guy mugging a girl, and I'm a guy, unfortunately, now this is my responsibility as a good Samaritan. You know what I mean? Now, if I'm being mugged by some guy and like some woman's walking by, I wouldn't necessarily think like she's about to throw down with me. You know what I mean? Like she's going to help me.
Yeah.
Like, but if I saw another man, I would think that as well.
Yeah.
It's just, I think we did some damage in like the last 3-4 years. I really do. And I worry because it's like, it's never been harder to date for young men.
For sure.
It's never been harder to be social and extrovert and have like those like outward tendencies because you have so many introvert paths that are now laid before you. You can, for the first time in like human history, like if you wanted to be a man and just like shy all responsibility, you could be a hermit. You could work a 9 to 5. You could watch porn all day. You could play video games. I mean, you could Grubhub your food to your house. And you don't really need to like outside of like make enough money to survive. You don't really need to be a member of society anymore.
Right.
And that worries me greatly because like I want to give young men. I've never been more happier than I am now, but I've also never had more responsibility and stress. And it's funny how those two kind of coincide. And if you would have told, 21-year-old Arion, like, do you want to have kids? Do you want to get married? All that sounds like a stress to me. Like, oh my God, that's so much responsibility. But now the things that make me truly the most happy are the things that are the most stressful, the most responsibly driven things.
Right.
And I think, maybe I'm wrong, Kendall. I could also be wrong, and people are going to tell me to eat shit. I think a man is best when he's taking on the burden of life. It kind of makes you rise to the occasion. Only if you're ready to rise to that occasion. And I don't know if we're doing that for young men now, and it worries me.
It's really like, and it's like how you're raised too. Like
Absolutely.
I saw like when I was growing up, I saw my dad holding the door for my mom. I saw my dad, someone mouthing off, my dad step in front and like what. I've seen it all, and like I said, at one point there was 4 boys living in the house. So it was me, my older brothers, and my little brother, and like he always was just like preaching, what it was to be like a man. I also had like so many people to look up to. I had my 2 older brothers and my dad, so I saw my dad, and then my dad told my older brothers what to do. So it's like I've always had a visual of what it was like to be a man. So that's
masculinity all around it.
And it's like, my mom didn't have to worry. She didn't have to worry about a thing. Like she never had to worry about, oh, I'm going out in public and someone's gonna try to hurt me, especially if we're there. And I was a little boy, and best believe, like I'm biting ankles if some older man like mess with my mom. So it's like, and like now it's even worse now. It's like I'm 25 and I can throw hands. So it's like my girl ain't got to worry about a thing, especially when it comes to some guy or anybody that's trying to mess with them. And
let's take that away from the physical aspect, though, because like, what if you weren't? You know what I mean? Because, by the way, the same. I resonate with you 100%. Like, whenever we go out, I always tell my wife, I'm like, first of all, I love guns, and second of all, I can fight. We're fine. You know what I mean? We're not the ones you want to fuck with. But like, what happens if you're that introvert man, and you might be 5'5", $130. And it's not necessarily like the physical acumen, because that's the thing, right? A lot of times we attach this connotation of masculinity to the physical aspect. But the things that make me feel the most like a man are the most detached from my physical form. It's all the things that I do in place of for my family. Mm-hmm. I don't need to be a martial artist to make money. I don't need to be who I am like physically in order to provide and protect in today's day and age. Mm-hmm. Previous times, okay, but I'm talking about in the world, the year of our Lord 2024. The thing that scares me the most is not like, guys going out and lifting 315 and, taking tren and being fucking giant. It's more running towards a fight, whatever that fight may take shape in, whether that's like, getting an education, either blue collar or white collar, whether you go to university or a trade school, get an education, become a valuable member of society, get a skill set that people will value. Whether that is actively pursuing a mate of some sort because you will only flourish as a man once you've lived past yourself. Like, I can truly say that I'm a better guy after having a child, because then it put everything into perspective. Before my daughter, it was all about me, what I wanted, what I could consume, and how much happiness I could raise for myself. Then I have my daughter. Well, actually, when I got married, then it kind of changed a little bit too. Like, okay, how can we do this, right? Then I had my daughter, and I was like, oh my God, like, it's all about her now, and it's not about me, and it's made me better. And I think if you have a bunch of lonely, single, docile men, as opposed to a bunch of socially active, married, or if marriage is not for you, whatever, like you have some sort of partner, whether you're gay, what have you, like something that extends past yourself. It doesn't have to be like the hetero sexual, monogamous relationship. It could be whatever works for, different strokes for different folks, but it's outside of you. You're not just at home J-O-ing 3 times a day because you don't fucking talk to people, right? And then also taking on responsibility, providing some sort of value to society that you can then take pride in. Like, I like the fact that I fill this niche, this role in society. It makes me feel like I'm a piece of that puzzle. And I worry because, I feel like more and more men aren't getting that. And this is not like a short-term problem, like, oh, he'll be fine. Like, no, it's like, this will be like everything else. Like, it'll build on itself. Like, this guy will feel lonely for so long, and then he'll just become like, ostracized from society. And then when he feels like he has nothing to live for, he's going to create things to die for. And that's what I get worried about. That's how you get extremism of any variety, whether it's religious, whether it's loneliness epidemic, what have you. And the spike of suicide, the trajectory of, dating. It's also a cascading effect. Like, what affects women will inevitably affect men, and what affects men will inevitably affect women. And you see it now, like, more and more women, because they're becoming more educated, because they're becoming more professionally driven, and they have so many more avenues for like professional development. They're hypergamous creatures. They want a man to still provide and protect. It's like built into their DNA, just like it should be built in our DNA to do that. But it becomes increasingly difficult for them because they're in a socioeconomic stratosphere, and men are just declining in a rapid rate. So like, you have this epidemic of single women, not because they're not looking, not because they're not social creatures, not because they don't want a partner, but because they don't have somebody that can even, like, they're willing to settle at some point, and they still can't find people. And then you're going to have like this schism where like the genders kind of dissolute from one another, and it's not sustainable. You need healthy, like I said beginning, I love the trajectory of women, and I think that we should still like go on that path and empower and equality and all these other things, but like, not like true equality in the sense that like women and men are at 50-50. It's like women should be 75% on certain aspects and men 25%. You have your strengths. And men should be 75% on some aspects, and then women are 25%. The average can be 50-50, but you're going to have your strengths and weaknesses and coexist and mingle and fucking, dude, I worry deeply about the next generation. Could you imagine dating now, like, with like the stigma and online dating and all these other things? I know you're not married, but you've been with your girl for a while, you know what I mean? So it's like, you're kind of out of the game for a minute.
Yeah, it's hard out there I've heard stories from or you see online, like,
from both genders, guys and girls.
Or I heard from my guys like, oh, she said I gotta be 6 foot and above. I'm like, yeah, yeesh, man.
Ooh, look at the time. All right, that was a good podcast.
No, I'm just saying, like, that's just like that's like the running joke. It's like, if you ain't, just stay away.
6 figures, 6 foot,
something. It's like, man, it's like, it's
6
hard
inches,
out here. It's like,
6 inches.
But no, it's like, but I understand, and it's like the same, like, and then guys will try to refute that, be like, all right, you can't be this much weight, and you gotta, it's just like everybody's battling, and that's why.
Well, everyone's talking about what they want. They're not talking about what they offer.
Exactly.
And that's what I kind of mean is like, before you can make a demand, beggars can't be choosers. So if you're overweight, if you're, you're not making any money, you don't have any potential prospects on any of these things, women or man,
Yeah.
Who the fuck are you to make demands?
Right.
Bring something to the table. I often say, I do believe in this. Like, you have to love yourself before you can love somebody. And by virtue of loving yourself, you're not going to let yourself get fat. You're not going to let yourself get poor. You're not going to let yourself get demoralized mentally. You're going to put the effort into yourself. And I think that resonates with people. I mean, I told you before this, I gravitate towards confidence, whether that's male or female. You know what I mean? My wife is supremely confident, and that's an attractive quality in my mate. But all of my friends that I gravitate towards, they're all supremely confident. I don't like docile, negative, short-sighted, imbecile men or women. So it's like, whether you want a companion in the sense of like a life partner, or a companion in the sense of just like boys or friends to, experience life with, like, you want to create someone that you would want to hang out with, right? Like,
right. Because then you like start to be like, you are who you surround yourself with. So like you surround yourself with, weak-minded people, or, qualities that you don't want in yourself, and the more you hang out with them, you're slowly going to become
your environment.
Yeah, so that's, like I said, and that's why I was, what I said in the very beginning, like the same people that have been in my corner since, the beginning. I mean, I have had the same friends since like first grade up until now. Like, we're all the same. Like, my mom always says,
That's
like,
lucky, brother. You have the same friends?
I have all of them. Like, my mom always says, like, it's weird when you guys are all in the same room. It's like talking to the same person. It's like, because we pretty much all, like, it's like almost like we are. It's like, yeah, we look different, but we all have the same mentality. And that's all I want to be. I have no interest in, like, I mean, I'll make a new friend, but it's like, yeah, you're won't
content.
be exactly. It's
You're
like
content with the circle.
I have my circle. It's like, I know these group of guys. Like, if we go out, like, they're gonna have my back. I know they're gonna watch over me, and same vice versa. I do the same for them, and it's just like I said, 6 years. You can't really break a bond. Like, 6 years old, I'm 25 now. It's like we've been together.
Yeah, childhood friends.
It's just like we rode the bus together, like, everything. So it's just like
that's crazy that you say that, because I also have childhood friends that, like, we keep in touch and everything, but I wouldn't say that we've drifted in terms of, like, I have my friends that I've had since I was a little kid, and if we ever got into a room together, it would be like no time has passed because of that, like, bond that we shared.
Yeah.
But I'd be the first person to tell you, like, we're kind of like fundamentally different people. Everyone kind of went which way one way. None of us are bad per se. Like, no one broke laws and, like, incarcerated or, like, take advantage of people or anything like that. But let's just say that, like, life and the drive that the individual has kind of shifted one way or another, right? It has nothing to do with money. It's more to do with the level of content. And I often say this: there's 7 deadly sins, right? Greed, lust, wrath, envy, all these other ones. I think the least sinful of them is actually greed. Not necessarily greed in the sense of money, and that's why I have that oil painting up there. But it's more like you should have enough greed to want more, but not so much greed that you want it all. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to be the best in the world. Well, can I be like the greatest of all time? Or if I can't be the greatest of all time and I can't be the best in the world, can I be like top 10? Can I be top 100? Enough greed to get you to the kind of show, but not so much that it envelops you. And some of these guys are just, their level of content, and maybe it's like an envy thing, because I've never felt content. Like, it's never been enough. And so far, it's a healthy obsession. Maybe one day in 10 years from now, I lose it all because I bet it all on red. You know what I mean? Who knows? But I think it's healthy to want more, to strive for more. If you have one kid, why not have 2? If you have a great marriage, why not have the best marriage? If you make $100,000 a year, make 105. If you make 50, make 51. Like, you should always be striving for more, that growth, that something. And maybe I'm kind of analogizing greed with growth and fair. I've been thinking more and more about my place in the world, because I'm only 31, and the accumulation of my time on this planet has put me to this point. And if I double it, I'm still, 62 years old, which is under the average age of death in America. So double the time that I've had on this planet. And I still got some years left. And I think to myself, like, okay, what is the point of this all? Like, what are we trying to do? At some point, your athletic career will have to cease. Like, Father Time will win. What after that? Okay, then you'll do something else. What after that? Like, I'm just trying to pinpoint my value, where I can add value, what influence I can have for better, whether that's as simple as a podcast or the other things that I'm doing on the side privately. One of the things that I deeply worry about is our national debt. The other thing I worry about deeply is men. I worry about men. I feel like they're not being really set up for success, and it'll have a cascading domino effect for every other aspect of life. And it could be something as simple as gaming too much, an addiction to pornography, a recollection or disassociation from responsibility and pursuits that I think all men should have. But then sometimes I think to myself, like, maybe I'm like, who am I to extend what I think is proper to somebody else? Maybe I'm wrong. Like, what worked for me doesn't necessarily work for somebody else.
It's true.
This is the dumb shit I think about. I don't know, brother. But listen, I know that you said you're going to go pro soon. I don't want to talk too much about a glass that we haven't poured, but I genuinely hope for your success in martial arts specifically, but also in other aspects of your life. You've been a fantastic friend and training partner in the time that I've trained with you, and could not say a single bad thing about you. You've only had positive experiences with everybody that I've known. And I think I speak with everybody from Finney's and all the other places that you train at when we wish for your success. Thank you for being on this podcast.
Thanks
I
for
hope it
having me.
was what you thought it would be.
For sure, yeah.
So Kendall Whited. Sorry for my long ass spiel, but thank you for being on Easy Talk, brother.
Thank you.